Well, I've always said that riding is an excellent time to reflect. God, kill me. But in all seriousness, riding is a good time to reflect, and never more so than with this Harley-Davidson 35th anniversary Fat Boy. In fact, it's hard to imagine Harley-Davidson or even motorcycling without a Fat Boy. Because at this point, for many of us, it's as if it's always been there. But the original Fat Boy of 1990 represented a design departure for the brand. It was called the Gray Ghost because of its silver paint and aluminum disc wheels. It was this kind of minimalist composition that delivered exceptional power. In fact, Brad Richards, current vice president of design and creative director, says that when he was in design school, the original Fat Boy embodied a level of sophistication he'd never seen in a Harley-Davidson before, and it really made an impact on him. The Softail line was just 6 years old when the Fat Boy debuted, and it became a cultural icon like almost no other modern motorcycle. Its image cemented in our minds, particularly by its role in the 1991 Terminator 2 movie. I asked Richards how you approach reinterpreting a motorcycle like the Fat Boy for current times. And he said, like designing any legacy Harley-Davidson in the portfolio, it's tremendously intimidating to try to capture some of the original magic that Willie G and the boys were seemingly so effortlessly able to capture. He went on to say, when we redesigned the Fat Boy for 2018, it was really about presence. There's no other Harley-Davidson in the line like it. The 2025 Fat Boy Gray Ghost is the 5th model of the limited edition Icons motorcycle collection, and it's the first one to come without bags. And as a nod to its introductory year, only 1,990 Gray Ghosts will be produced, the number marking the model year it was introduced. The defining characteristic of this bike is, of course, the chrome-like finish. Harley calls it reflect. It's not chrome, but it is applied with a process called physical vapor deposition. They'd used PVD on some other parts before, but never applied it to large pieces like this. Richard said they always talk about how the Fat Boy comes across as a solid chunk of billet, and here is a piece of billet someone's polished. Richards and the team discussed how they could take the Fat Boy up a notch for its 35th anniversary, and this was the answer. But it was also a real challenge. Early tests with the PVD finish were described as an orange dipped in chrome, but obviously they figured it out, and the depth and clarity of the tank and fenders is remarkable and impactful, particularly so out in the real world. Just like with the 1990 model, yellow accents on the heads work as a contrast to all the metallic tones. Like the original Fat Boy, it has a round air filter housing, there's the stitching on the tank strap, stitching on the seat, and they also brought back a version of Willie G. Davidson's original Fat Boy double-winged tank emblem. The original sketches of that are exceptionally cool. Richard said that Willie G always talked about the engine as the centerpiece of Harley-Davidson design on any motorcycle, and the rest of the bike was just the setting. The Fat Boy takes this idea to a new level. And while they did kick up the size of this motorcycle to give it a stronger presence and to give it that Fat Boy stance, more so than the original bike, it still remains what I would call human size. And Harley's done an exceptional job of not getting into the mission creep of increasing the size of their bikes to try to make them seem bigger and stronger and more powerful. I would say Harley-Davidson has had quite a bit of discipline in keeping the size of the motorcycle relative to the person riding it, and also relative to the strength, the visual strength of the engine. The 2025 Fat Boy Gray Ghost is priced at $25,399 or $2,800 more than a base model Fat Boy. I rode the first generation Fat Boy in the mid-1990s, and man did it vibrate. But in 1999 I photomodeled the significantly redone Fat Boy. It had the twin cam 88B or beta engine that brought counterbalancers to a big twin for the first time. What a change that bike was. But it was nothing like the all-new Softail line introduced in 2018. That took Harley's big cruiser line to a new level. As it is with any big twin, the engine is the defining characteristic of the riding experience. Like the rest of the 2025 lineup, the Fat Boy gets a 117 cubic inch engine. This new mill made 90 horsepower on the Cycle World dyno, but more importantly 112 pound-feet of torque. And while that torque peak is impressive, even more so is that torque stays above 100 pound-feet from 1800 RPM all the way to 4700 and essentially never drops below 90 pound-feet anywhere. The engine will pull hard from 1500 RPM in 6th gear, and it pulls fiercely through the mid-range. At the same time, you can hit cruise control at 60, and the engine lopes along at about 2100 RPM. There are some really sporty handling motorcycles in the current Softail lineup, but the Fat Boy isn't one of them. That fat presence demanded some very wide tires on those impressive aluminum wheels. It also gets comfort-oriented damping, so it's best to carry a relaxed pace on a winding road. Still, you can swing along pretty good. It takes a little bit more bar pressure to initiate a turn and hold the line than on some of the other Softails. Like the other Softails in 2025, the Fat Boy gets lean-sensitive ABS and traction control plus 3 very nicely calibrated ride modes. You can still carry a nice pace on a winding back road, and riding that wave of torque is one of life's great pleasures. Plus, looking down to see yourself reflected so clearly in the finish on the gas tank is truly a unique experience. Is the 2025 Fat Boy 35th Anniversary Edition a success? It does have true presence, but the real test is every time we park it, we keep looking back at it. And if that's not the ultimate expression of an iconic model like the Fat Boy, we don't know what is.